Thank you for joining us on another fabulous episode of Popcorn for Breakfast with your co-host, Kirk.
Hello, hello.
I am your other co-host, Cam, and we are back. We are back, baby. We had a week off while I was getting some R&R, doing some rest and relaxation down in Orlando. Yeah, I know. I feel kind of bad. Usually when we take vacations, it's usually like with the whole family. So,
right.
So you would be involved, Kirk, but not this time. I left you in the dust. I was like, peace.
How dare you? I honestly didn't even know that you were going on vacation until the day before. And I was like, wait, how did... I was like, Aubrey, why have I missed every conversation about this? She's like, oh, he's talked about it. They haven't kept it a secret. I was like, well, they kept it a secret from me.
Yeah, that was intentional. They're like, listen, don't mention it around Kirk, okay? Like, just don't.
You knew it would break my heart and that I would stow away in your suitcase, and you didn't want to pay the extra baggage fees for that. So I get it.
True.
I get it.
It's true. It's true. But it was good. It was good. It was COVID Disney. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. I would say that in general, my hope for humanity is all but gone at this point. Just because I think that not necessarily because of COVID, but just whatever comes next to take us out, I think it'll get us. I just think, and the reason is that, like, so people pay tons of money to go into Disney World, right? So you'd think, like, you're there, you paid lots of money to be there. There's very simple rules. Do you think you would follow them? You know, they've got like things in every line, 6 feet apart. Please stand behind this line and wait until the party in front of you. It literally says, please wait here. And people couldn't do it. They could not do it. They didn't. I think they wanted to, but I think they were just too stupid to do it. I don't know. And I'm like, listen, whether you believe in whether you are a plandemic person or a pandemic person, it's not hard to follow that rule. Like, just don't get kicked out of the park that you spent a bunch of money to be in. I don't know. I just could not wrap my head around that. I was like, we are better than this as a group of people, right? Like, we can adhere to simple instructions, you would think. But now I don't think so.
I mean, I remember when everything first went down and people were posting memes of the grocery store. You know, at the grocery store where they have large cart, small cart, and they were all mixed up, and they said, I have no hope at this point.
Right? I know. It's like, these things are not hard. It's not even a matter of what you are choosing to believe. It's just a matter of, like, there are certain rules that you are expected to follow if you pay to be somewhere. I don't know. It was crazy.
You know, there's something to say about Thanos and getting rid of half of the population.
If he gets rid of the right half. No, we won't go there. We won't go there. But no, it was good. I'm not going to lie. It was good. The Disney magic was still well intact if you're into that sort of thing, which I am. So
if you're not, who are you?
I know. Kudos to Disney for doing their thing. It was pretty good. We've got a packed show because we've been out for over a week, and this industry, we talk about it all the time, Kirk. It never stops. It never stops. So we got
never stopping.
We got a boogie. We've got a couple of things going on. For those of you watching on the stream, thank you for being here with us as always. For those of you listening in the podcast, you are going to hear the first half of this episode, which is what's popping. We're going to talk about all the big news, and then the next episode, which will drop on Friday, we will have our review of Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan, one of the best young actors of our time. So that'll be a fun one to review. If you're watching on the stream, you get all that at once. So lucky you. But we have a ton to get to. And Kirk, I think you have a game too. So I mean, we got no time to waste. We need to get to it. Let's pop it up, shall we?
Let's do it.
I'm going to try something new this week.
What?
I'm going to lay some music underneath our what's popping. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just feeling it. I need a little groove. If anybody is watching on the stream and you're like, this is too loud, let me know. Because I can do my audio magic for the podcast afterwards, but not for the stream. Those guys are getting it. They're getting whatever we have. Oh, I got a comment. Good. There we go. Perfect. That's what I need. I need the instant feedback. That's why we do this. Thank you, guys. Okay. Man, Kirk, it's like I don't even know where to start, but there's a lot going on. So first of all, let's talk about this. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association is having a meltdown of biblical proportions at this moment. For those of you who are not initiated, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is the organization that votes on and hosts the Globes every year, the Golden Globes, which we just had back in February, March. Right before the Golden Globes happened this year, it was revealed that there are no black members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. And that, as one would expect, did not go over particularly well with the public and with the actors who are getting awards and the studios that are working with them. And the bloodbath just started. Netflix cut ties with them. Amazon cut ties with them. Studios started cutting ties. And finally, NBC said, "You're off the air. You're off the air." 2022 Golden Globes will not be aired on NBC. Even though the Hollywood Foreign Press Association has committed to sweeping reform, it's too little too late. And so they need to make big changes. Because, listen, and we should get into this, Kirk. I mean, I'm one of these guys who is like, if you hire the most qualified people, or like get the most qualified people, diversity will happen. So the fact that there is zero members that are black in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association in 2021 is pretty shocking. What was your reaction to this news, and do you agree with NBC's decision?
Yeah, I think it's a good decision to drop out on that, because what in the world?
Yeah, right.
like why has that not been addressed sooner than this? I'm thankful for all the big social movements that have been happening, because it really has given us an opportunity to know things that really should have been known a long time ago, instead of like kind of pushed to the side and brushed under the rug. So I think it's a good decision to just drop out on it. And there are some big things happening with the actors standing up for it as well. We heard about Tom Cruise giving back 3 of his awards
back. That's right.
Huge, awesome stuff happening. So I'm for it.
And this is where I land. And I get it. Like when people say, well, just hire, just bring on the most qualified people. And it's like, yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think you should just be like, this person is black and so they should be in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. But
right. It's
2021. You cannot tell me that there is not a single qualified black person to be in the Hollywood Foreign Press. That's outrageous. And that's when it gets messed up, because that's clearly singling people out and excluding people based on their background and their race. And that is the definition of racism. So I agree. I'm for this. And kudos to NBC. They were like, listen, we know that the Hollywood Foreign Press is trying to make changes, and we stand behind them. We've worked with them for a long time, and we care about this relationship. And once those changes have been made, we'll reconsider. So they're not shutting the door. They're just saying, like, listen, this has to happen. So
right.
It's big news. I hate the Golden Globes anyway. Maybe there's a reason for that. I think they're the worst award show in the world. So I'll be thankful for the break, and then maybe they will come back better. That's my hope, at least.
We can only hope.
We can only hope. Fingers crossed. Okay. Ooh, where to go next? Should I stay on the downer news? I think I'm going to stay on the downer news. I got one more.
Get rid of the down stuff, and then let's go up.
Let's go up on a high note. Joss Whedon, man. This guy is taking it in the teeth. In that Justice League movie, I don't know what you want to call it, the Whedon cut, the original cut, I don't know. The original Justice movie, the theatrical cut, just becomes somehow more of a dumpster fire with each passing day. I mean, we're like 4 years past when it released in theaters, and there are still stories coming out about this movie. I cannot believe it. Most recently, Gal Gadot went on an Israeli television network and let the people know that Joss Whedon on the set of Justice League threatened her career, and basically said if she didn't do something that he wanted in the movie, that he would make her career terrible and miserable. And so that's where we're at. And this is after all the Ray Fisher allegations against Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns. We had the Buffy the Vampire Slayer cast allegations against Joss Whedon. So I'm starting to think we're not going to be seeing much of Joss Whedon going forward, Kirk. What about you?
No, I think he's going to crawl into a hole for several years, as he should. I just don't understand, like, why why is it so prevalent in the entertainment industry, or is it's just easier to see it there than anywhere else, than your everyday Joe Schmo jobs, because they're on a pedestal, they have fame and fortune. I can't imagine being in that industry and letting that fly, being complicit to it. But then again, there are cults, and the
That's
entertainment
right.
industry is basically built into that kind of like mindset, and you have to follow certain rules. But now, thank goodness, people are waking up and they can change the rules. So that is exciting.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing. This is, and I would normally not react to allegations. I am like very much a innocent till proven guilty person. There's a reason that we have that system, and I don't want to knee jerk react to anything. But if you look at this situation particularly, what does Gal Gadot or Ray Fisher have to gain by talking about Joss Whedon? Nothing. They have everything to lose, actually, if this doesn't go their way. So that's why I'm inclined to believe it. And you've got the Buffy people, you've got the DC people. Like, this is starting to become a snowball effect. And so with that happening, and with it being people who are already in a situation of prominence and have nothing to gain at all from this, you start to believe it.
Right.
So I think perhaps rightfully so, we might not be seeing much of Joss Whedon going forward. So we'll keep an eye on that situation.
Yep.
All right, that's the crappy stuff. Let's do the fun stuff. Can we do the fun stuff?
Please, let's do the fun stuff.
Here's what I think is really fun. This is maybe the funnest thing that has come out over the last week, is Knives Out 2 casting has begun. And we've got two big names joining Daniel Craig in the sequel to Knives Out, which, if you remember correctly, will go to Netflix. It is they own the rights to it. So we already knew Daniel Craig's reprising his role of Benoit Blanc, our star detective. But joining the cast, just announced this week by Deadline, we've got Dave Bautista of Drax, Guardians of the Galaxy fame, and none other than Edward Norton of Fight Club and American History X and tons of other Birdman, tons of other great movies. Those two guys are joining the fray. What do you think about this casting news, Kirk?
Dude, I was just talking about how good Edward Norton is and doesn't give enough credit, because I've never seen him in a bad role despite the movie being good or not. He's always just so committed and so in there. I mean, even the greats, and I say this with pain, even the greats like Leo DiCaprio have had a couple of performances that weren't in line with the power of the movie or the writing. And Edward Norton continues to invent himself and shape himself, and is always fascinating to watch because he's such a strange person, most of all. So that, above all, makes me super excited about Knives Out 2. Wasn't the biggest fan of Knives Out. It was still fun. It was still good. Not in my top 10 of anything, but I don't know. Maybe this could be one of those rare gems where we see the sequel outshining the original.
Yeah, I think my take on Knives Out, I think it gets better with every viewing, actually. I think for me, it was just the payoff was a little too predictable. And some people disagree. That's why it's interpretive. But we have a comment that says, the Hulk 2? Yes, the Hulk 2. I thought he was great in the Hulk, actually. It wasn't a great movie, but to your point, Kirk, Edward Norton, man, he just brings it on every performance. And he has range like nobody's business. He can do all kinds of different roles. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say he's the killer. I don't know. I think he's the killer in Knives Out too. I just you don't cast Ed Norton if he's not going to be the killer. I don't know. I'm calling it right now. Also, Dave Bautista. First of all, Dave Bautista and Daniel Craig have already shared the screen once in a Bond movie, Spectre, I believe. Mm-hmm. Briefly, they way underutilized Dave Bautista in that movie. But Dave Bautista is a bona fide actor at this point. I don't want to hear any of this ex-UFC whatever. He's legit. He's legit. And I'm excited to see him in this role. So hoping that more casting news will be coming out soon, because we know that this is going to be a big cast with lots of different actors, and it's going to be so fun. So yeah, I cannot wait for Knives Out 2.
Let's go.
All right. Next up, we got a trailer for Venom 2. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. We got a full-length trailer, just dropped yesterday. We got a little bit of Woody Harrelson. We got some Tom Hardy. We did not get any Spider-Man tie-ins, which I think people were expecting. But what did you think of the first full-length trailer for Venom Let There Be Carnage, Kirk?
You know, I hated the first 30 seconds. It's 2.5 minutes. I hated the first 30 seconds. I thought it was too campy. The voice, I was like, oh no, what happened? What happened to Tom Hardy's or Harmy, whatever you want to call him?
Whichever, yeah.
That's his alter ego. He's actually doing the voiceover work in the first 30 seconds of the trailer. His voice work was super campy in a very campy scene. But then as it went on, I was like, okay, suck me in a little bit more. I can do this, man. I got to tell you, I still think there should be an Academy Award for trailer cuts, for editors for trailers, because those people are geniuses. They get people into some of the worst movies. Not that this will be the worst movie, but I'm just saying, didn't have a strong start. Yes. One thing that I did not like is I did not like the how Carnage, they show Carnage very briefly in this, and I thought he looked almost like a cardboard cutout. So I don't understand. Did they spend all the money on Venom? I don't know what happened there, but it looked pretty cool, pretty spectacular imagery there.
We'll chalk that up as the VFX not being done. I don't know. I mean, I know we're coming up on it. We got a September release date as I look at my watch, which I'm currently not wearing.
Yes.
But we've got a September release date, so I would hope that they're pretty close to being done. I mean, my take on this is it's about what I expected. I think it looks okay. I have a hard time with Venom because I feel like Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock is a miscast. I don't know that that's much of a fit. Woody Harrelson, I don't know, man. They fixed the wig, which is good because it was atrocious. It was atrocious before. It was embarrassingly bad. So his hair looks a little bit better. But I agree, his intro, the whole Eddie Brock, missed you so much. That bothered me a little bit. I don't know, but it got better as the trailer went on. They used One by the Beatles, which is an elite trailer song. It does not miss. So they rounded it out nicely. So I'm excited for it. All I have to say is announce Tom Holland, you cowards. We know that he's in this movie. I've got a feeling. What if he's not in this movie, but what if Tobey Maguire is in this movie? Because of course we saw Venom in Spider-Man 3, and what if we get back to the time warp to the big battle with him and the Sandman, and that is where the portal has ripped open and worlds collide. Come on. Could be. Did you see the Reddit sleuths are already all over that, man? They've got at one point, I can't remember the actor's name. Oh, I hate this. He's got a newspaper pulled up, and it's the Daily Bugle. Okay. It's the Daily Bugle logo from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy.
Oh man!
So people are like, they were the Leo meme, oh, this is it. This is the tie-in. I don't know. I mean, the Sony Spider-Verse is so messy at this point. Hopefully, it won't be for much longer. So I'm not going to read too much into that, but I'm totally predicting Tom Holland appears in some sort of in-credits scene or something like that. I don't know. For them to do two Venom movies without a Spider-Man tie-in, there's no freaking way. There's just no way. I mean, it's Spider-Man and it's Venom. You can't do two movies without him. So we shall see. But you have my attention, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. You definitely have my attention after that trailer. So we will be ready to see that one in September. Speaking of release dates and speaking of superheroes, we got a huge MCU Phase 4 hype video last week that previewed all of the MCU Phase 4. It had clips and images from some of the new movies. It had, lots of different release dates and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to break it down now. Basically, MCU Phase 4 is all but finalized at this point. They have said, and for those of you who are not familiar, as close to the Marvel stuff, so Marvel does movies in phases that are generally 1 to 3 years nowadays. So this phase began in 2021 and will end at the end of 2023. That's Phase 4. The original movies from Iron Man, which came out in 2008, all the way to Endgame, were 3 phases. So just to give you a sense of kind of like how many movies we're talking about here. But let me pull up this image real quick because we've got Phase 4 totally announced here. And we got some new title treatments as well because we had previously not had subtitles or additional titles for the new Captain Marvel movie or the Black Panther movie. Both were just being called Black Panther 2 and Captain Marvel 2. Well, now that has been put to rest as we've got Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the new name. There he is. Is that T'Challa?
Yes.
There he is, the Funko Pop. Kirk's got it on lockdown. So it's Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the title of Black Panther 2. And then Captain Marvel 2 is just called The Marvels. And if you can see closely on that image, there are 2 little things they've snuck in there, which is a Monica Rambeau logo as well as the Miss Marvel S. So we know that movie will feature all 3 of our different Captain Marvel characters. Miss Marvel, which is Kamala Khan, Captain Marvel, which is Brie Larson / Carol Danvers, and then Monica Rambeau. So
that's right.
And then we also got announced that we got release dates for Thor, Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, The Marvels, Ant-Man, Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which will release... let me pull up all these release dates for you real quick. So, Black Panther Wakanda Forever will come out July 8th, 2022. The Marvels, 11/11/2022. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, 2/17/2023. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. And Fantastic Four was included in the hype video, but with a to-be-announced date. So we do not have a release date for Fantastic Four, but we can assume that it will be sometime in 2023, probably in the back half of that year. And so there's our Phase 4. It includes Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, The Marvels, Ant-Man Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Fantastic Four, and all of the TV shows, which I'm not going to name because that will take forever.
Let's go. We start with...
but yeah.
Did you see what people have done with the Fantastic Four logo? That it's a troll by Marvel. They have the 4, and then they have a Captain America shield behind it, being Captain America
lol.
4.
Yeah.
That they're trolling us like, gotcha. So I don't know if they'll do that. That's pretty cruel, but they have done some cruel things in the TV series. So we'll also see on that.
We will see. It is worth noting that both Captain America 4 and Blade, which are the only 2 other announced Marvel movies, were not included in this Phase 4. So those will be relegated to Phase 5, which I think the one that surprises me just a tiny bit there is Blade, just because they announced it so long ago. But you have to remember the history with that. Mahershala Ali approaches Marvel and says, I want you to make a Blade movie. I want to be Blade. So they never had planned for it to go in here. So then they had to take time to kind of figure out, okay, where do we incorporate Blade? How do we do it? So it does make a little bit more sense that they're not slating it for Phase 4, even though we've known about it for a little while now. Yeah. And then Captain America 4, we literally just found out about it because they couldn't announce it until after The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Precisely.
So it does make sense. It does.
Look at that lineup, man.
I know.
Oh, man. It's so crazy.
It all kicks off. I mean, it's already kicked off if you count, WandaVision and all that stuff. But it all kicks off July 9th with Black Widow. And speaking of 9th, Loki got moved up from June 11th to June 9th also last week.
Yes.
Which means that they will be releasing on Wednesdays rather than Fridays, which is not cool. Don't throw off my vibe. Marvel, I like having the Friday releases. So I don't know what they're doing there, but they have made the switch.
Well, instead of staying up all night Thursday night and watching it when it drops at 2:00 in the morning Central Time, you have to do that on Tuesday night going into Wednesday and be sleepy for the rest of the
week, not just on Friday, for the rest of the week. Perfect. That's perfect.
Yes, they just really want to test people and test the commitment, and I think they'll get it still. I think they will.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm raring to go. June can't get here fast enough. I'm having withdrawals because Invincible ended too, and so I've got nothing. I'm just still plugging through The Crown. That's like all I've got.
I gotcha. Well,
all right.
You can come over to the dark side of watching all the '90s series with me. And there's ER. There's Wonder Years. There's
Absolutely
so many.
Not.
There's Felicity. There's
Not
Alias. That was the '90s, but
Maybe
still, there's
Alias.
so many. You got to do it. That's on Prime as well.
Is that the '90s?
No, it's the 2000s for sure.
Yeah, I'm out. I gotta. I'll stick with the new stuff. There's too much new stuff to watch anyway.
It's true.
Okay, I got two more for you, Kirk. One of them is super fun. One of them is not. So I'm just gonna go quick with the one that's not.
I thought we were done with the downers.
No, it's not a downer. It's just like meh. So HBO Max, we've been talking about how there's going to be an ad-supported version of HBO Max coming out. We knew this was coming. The only announcement we've gotten is that it's going to be $9.99 a month for HBO Max with ads. And they had been saying summer, but like we're kind of there. We're like almost in summer, so I don't really know when that's rolling out. But I understand that there were some difficulties with creating an ad-supported version because all of the HBO shows are made without ads. So you have to find places to squeeze in those ads without cutting people off mid-sentence. I don't know. They should have thought about that before they did this, but here we are. So what do you think about that price point, Kirk? Too much? Too little? What's the word there?
I mean, I guess it's probably in line with Hulu's, tiered pricing as well. I just want to make sure that my HBO Max subscription doesn't get affected or price hiked.
It will not. It will not.
Cool.
We have the real one. Oh, did I say we? I mean, I have the real one and you have the real one. What?
That's right. We each have the real one.
Nobody tell AT&T, okay? Just keep it hush. Keep it zipped.
Bleep out the last 30 seconds. People just be like, some kind of technical
Something
glitch
weird
happened.
I don't know what happened there.
In that
It's
episode.
odd. All right. The last one is fun, and we don't ever talk about this stuff, but this is a special circumstance, Kirk. This is big. Benifer is back, baby. Benifer is back. Ben Affleck and J-Lo, they are spending some time together. They were both involved in a program called Vax Live, which I don't even know what that is. It had something to do with like trying to raise vaccine awareness, which sure. They were both involved in it separately. And then afterwards, they scooted off to Montana to spend some time together, which is not something that people who have been broken up for a long time typically do. So I think I don't want to jump the gun, but I'm pretty sure Benifer's back.
What else can Ben Affleck do? He was with a Jennifer and then with another Jennifer. Now he's without a Jennifer. So he's got to go back to one that he was with for a long time. Both freshly off the market. I guess most recently, of course, J-Lo. And is it A-Rod? Who is it?
Yeah, A-Rod.
Yes. And I mean, everything old is new again. It's why did we even spend the last 25 years moving in time? Because we're back in the same place. It's insane.
Yeah, it's like when you watch a basketball game and they get to like 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter and it's like tied. You're like, I wasted 2 hours of my life. I could have just started here.
Right. It's absolutely insane. And, I jested online that maybe they're writing Geely too.
Yeah. And yes, that's what it is. It's a writer's retreat.
Yes, they're like, you know what? I got it. I can fix it. I can fix the timeline. We're going to do this, and this. And I think that we could really hit a home run because, why not? Why the heck not? Let's just see what happens.
I love it. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll keep you posted. We don't really do the tabloid stuff, but this is so funny and so awesome. Though TMZ reporting today that Ben Affleck first reached out to J-Lo back in February when she was still with A-Rod. So that is shady business.
Shady indeed. I think as far as the better matchups go, I think it should have been him and Jennifer Garner. I think they just fit better as a family together. I don't know why. That's just how I see it. It's how I see it.
It's true.
And I hope one day that they will get remarried, even though they're divorced. It's my hope and goal.
We can dream for it. We don't know anything about these people, so we can. All that matters is how we perceive things. That's all.
Exactly.
That's all that matters. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. All right. Well, that's the fun one. We'll do Bennifer Watch, just like Panda Watch from
Bennifer Watch.
We'll keep you guys posted there. But that's all we got for what's popping this week. It was a lot, but it wasn't like too much. You know what I mean? It was just, it was good.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like 3 hours of reading the newspaper of now we saw Quentin Tarantino.
I could have gone longer with it, but I just wanted to play the greatest hits. Just wanted to play the top hits there. So
yeah.
All right, that's 2 weeks of news in 30 minutes. How you like that? What's popping? Let's pop it up one last time.
Do it.
Alrighty, Mr. Kirk. We are now at the portion of the program where we are going to review a film. And the film we are reviewing this week is a little ditty by the name of Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, based on the Tom Clancy novel Without Remorse.
What?
He gets the Tyler Perry treatment, Tom Clancy. He gets the Tyler Perry's Medea's Family Reunion.
He does.
He gets all that. And who else does that? Steve McQueen, did he do that? Or wait, no, Lee Daniels, the butler.
Lee Daniels.
There are people out there who get to put their name before it. I'm surprised John Grisham isn't one of these people, because there's been lots of John Grisham movies. I'm surprised it's not like John Grisham's this, John Grisham's that. They do that with Stephen King sometimes.
Yeah, and I wonder why they get that honor, that I guess the equivalent of knighthood in the film industry, right? Like,
yeah, I know.
What are the qualifications? We
need to do like an expose on the secret dealings that say like you are allowed to have your name before the movie title and you are not.
Yes, it would be riveting. It would be approximately
it would be the most boring thing ever. People would be like, "No one cares. We don't care. We're fine with just it being the way that it is."
It would be 3.5 minutes of actual exposition and really to the point, and then the rest would just be sitting around for 2 hours just looking at the movies and dissecting the movies.
Right.
So perfect. Let's do it on next week's episode of Popcorn for Breakfast.
We'll dig into it next week. All right, so we're reviewing Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan. I'm probably just going to refer to it as Without Remorse for the rest of the episode, because that's a mouthful. Kirk, you, my friend, have the honor, nay, the privilege of synopsing this film for us. So whenever you're ready, my friend.
Yes. You see, Mr. Michael B. Jordan, who by his own accord has the same kind of fame that you could call Tom Clancy, right? I mean, when you think of a movie like this, whenever you think of a movie with him in it, you're like, hey, you check out the new Michael B. Jordan movie. There's dozens, if not hundreds of people in this movie. But of course, you always think of larger than life, Mr. Michael B. Jordan. So Michael B. Jordan plays this famous character in the Tom Clancy series, John Kelly. He's a big character, goes on lots of adventures, and I mean, he's almost as big as Jack Ryan. I mean, he's the equivalent in the same by the same author. He's an elite Navy SEAL, and he basically gets ousted, nay, blackmailed, if you will, and then his entire life falls apart. By the way, this is a very spoiler-filled episode, as we do. Maybe this is the last time we say it.
Yeah, maybe this will be the last time. But I agree. It's good to say it, but maybe this is the last time we do it.
Big spoiler before I move my lips anymore, because Michael B. Jordan's entire family is murdered in his bedroom. I hope you guys got away. Otherwise, you're in it. You're in it now. Just brutally murdered. With ties into the Russians and inner government workings and appeasement and red tape. And this movie has everything, with Michael B. Jordan just trying to race against time in order to stop the bad guys and get a little revenge in his life.
That's right. That's why they call it Without Remorse. Well done, Kirk. That was lovely. Truly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely. All right. Well, shall we get into the review? We, since we're recapping things, and we mentioned the spoiler, we do our reviews in 4 parts. We do, well, technically 5. We do the Oscar goes to, which is our best performer, scene stealer, which is the person who knocked our socks off. We do showstopper, which is the biggest, like, whoa, this was the thing that I thought was so cool about this movie. We do director shoes, which is like, here's what I would have changed. And then we do our overall thoughts and scores. So let's get started with the Oscar goes to. Kirk, why don't you kick us off, my friend?
Easy peasy. This goes to Mr. Michael B. Jordan, our leading man. This movie had some pitfalls in the writing, which is kind of shocking because it's based off of a book. And some of my favorite movies in the past couple of years have been either based on a true story or they've had the original script manuscript power coming straight from an original source, like a book, like a poem, like a short story. So it was, once again, more credit to Michael B. Jordan's acting power and prowess to be able to see him take this role on and fight through those scenes. And honestly, I feel like he probably dropped some dialogue and just stared at the other actors at some points, because the man wears everything on his sleeve, his emotions, his raw emotion when his wife and his unborn child are murdered. You don't even see them. And that's a perfect directorial move, because the idea of what you can create in your mind is often more horrific than what they could ever potentially try to show you. And his grief and his just disgust are just pouring out of his pores. Just throughout the film, he just seamlessly comes into every scene, and he he reads the room, he reads the actors, and he is acting with them. And that's one thing that we probably haven't talked about enough on this, is that there are a lot of actors out there who can act on their own and can hold their own. And even if they're in a room full of unexperienced actors, or just people who aren't with it or are phoning it in, what Michael B. Jordan always does is he makes sure that he's holding that relationship tight with the other person. And through his relationship with Jamie Bell in this, through with Guy Pearce, through Jodie Turner-Smith, through and through, he develops individual specific relationships with them, and he holds them to it. And you can see how powerful that is in his script work and his scene work. So I've gone on too long. Michael B. Jordan wins.
Yeah, it's a great call. I mean, I think so. Obviously, for me, it's Michael B. Jordan as well. He's the one I'm giving my Oscar to. I think a great point you mentioned that I'm just gonna sort of add to is the Michael B. Jordan presence in this film is one that was desperately needed, and one that he just provides so effortlessly. For me, it's everything. His whole aura, his essence, his ability to command the screen with his physical presence, his movements. Whenever he's doing the military scenes, you can tell that he cares a ton, and he's doing the best that he can to make it look as real as possible. And those little details, and picking up on that part, and not just his delivery and not just the big emotional moments, that's what makes him one of the great young actors that we have. And I thought that he brought that 100% in this movie. I thought that he was asked, as you sort of alluded to deliver some pretty tough lines. And there were times where you could tell that he was just, like you said, building the relationship, creating dialogue out of thin air to make it more genuine. I mean, it was obvious that was happening at times, but that's what good performers and actors do. And Michael B. Jordan is certainly in that category. And this performance was no different. So, got to give it up to our man Michael B. That's right. Kirk, I want to know, who's your scene stealer? Who was the under the radar performance that gotcha?
It's going to go to Mr. Billy Elliot himself, Jamie Bell.
Jamie Bell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This dude, he came from Billy Elliot fame, and he just continues to just blow it out of the water. Every time I see him, he again, this is an underrated actor for me because I've seen him in some roles where he is the leading role and he kills it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Jamie Bell get more and more roles, get right there front and center. So right now, it's fine that he's in the background, that he is in the supporting role because he kills that every time, and maybe he's just leading up to that leading man role. I love that they did a bait and switch on us from the get go, thinking like this dude's got some stuff. He's got some baggage, right? That they were gonna say this. He's the head honcho. He's the big bad in this, and then it wasn't, and it was very clear. And the reveal of that was very nice. It wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't campy. It was just, Michael B. Jordan like choking him out. And it was very apparent like, nah, he would have talked. He would have talked if there was something to say. So Jamie Bell, you, sir, my eyes are glued to you. I see you. There's a chair here for you in my studio and Cam's. There is a throne for Michael B. Jordan, but maybe one day you can also have that throne or a similar one next to him.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I agree with what you said. I always think it's interesting when I always wonder what goes into the actor's process when they read the full script and they realize that they have been cast as the red herring, as the person that is supposed to throw people off the scent. I feel like that would get in your head a little bit, but it didn't for Jamie Bell. I thought he did a great job. I agree. My scene stealer is going to somebody who I find to be criminally underrated and underappreciated in the industry, and that's Guy Pearce. I love Guy Pearce. I fell in love with Guy Pearce during LA Confidential. That is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think he's fantastic in that role. He is fantastic in roles where he plays an authoritative figure. He is able to ground those characters in a way where like they try to write these characters as like these larger than life people, but Guy Pearce is able to bring it down to a human level and still maintain that presence, that like authoritarian figure. And he was in that role again. He was Secretary Clay, who presided over the Navy SEALs. And, again, spoiler, he ends up being in on this plot to basically frame the Russians for taking out some Navy SEALs to start a war because they need a war to kind of like raise the morale and give people something to pay attention to. So it's this very sinister government plot. And I thought Guy Pearce was excellent in his role as sort of the secret evil secretary of the military branch. So don't have much more to say there except for let's put some respect on Guy Pearce's name. I know people slam him, and I'm not here for that at all. I think he's great.
Who slams him?
People do, man. People like he's one of those. I feel like maybe this is just my perception, but I feel like he's one of these actors that just like becomes like almost a Nickelback joke, like one of these that people are like, oh yeah, Guy Pearce is it. I don't know. Maybe this is totally my perception. I want to hear from other people too, but I feel like people kind of treat him as a punching bag. But I'm like, listen, watch LA Confidential and shut up because that movie is awesome and he is awesome in it.
Dude, watch him in The Count of Monte Cristo with opposite Jim Caviezel. I mean, he's just so royal. One day we'll see Guy Pearce be knighted. I'm convinced as well. He's just so fantastic. I mean, he's just professional. I love how you said how he grounded it because it's very easy to just be a caricature of this, grimy, superficial. Yep. It reads like a comic book character almost that you would have to just be maniacal. And man, he grounds it every time. So wonderful choice. Wonderful choice.
Thank you, sir. Let's talk Showstopper, Kirk. What was the part of the movie that you thought was really impressive?
Well, for my showstopper, I'm going to try and reenact the moment in which Michael B. Jordan sees his wife dead in their bed with their unborn child, because it's a horrifying, horrible moment. So I want to bring some gravity to it. Hold on, I've got to wait. Actually, hold on. Let me crawl in because he crawls in. Hold on.
Absolute silence as I get into character. Absolute silence.
Remember, he's been shot at this point.
Correct.
He's been shot, and
multiple times. Yeah.
Hopefully, you're watching because this is going to be pretty silent for the first 30 seconds. And I know this is a podcast.
This is great radio. Just go ahead. Go.
No. That's my
That
performance.
wow. Got to give it up, man. What a pro.
I felt a little rushed. Let me do it one more time.
Yeah, let's run it back.
Let me get it right. Hold on. Here we go again. No, that scene is really incredible. Also, side note, I've been thinking about this for a while. This has nothing to do with Showstopper, but what if we did Monologue Mondays, Cameron? What if we did Monologue Mondays,
go on,
in which we pick a scene, a monologue, in which we need. Oh, thank you. I got a bravo from our fan on Discord, Mary FKN Sunshine. You're the best. Thank you so much. So, what if we do like one monologue from the movie that we watch, and we perform it on Mondays? We take turns. I think that'd be pretty fantastic.
Perhaps. I mean, I'm not formally trained in acting, but we might be able to make it happen.
And then we do scene study Saturdays. So then you and I do like a character work together on Saturdays. And then we figure out some clever names for the rest of the week. And we're going to sing. We're going to sing too. I like that. Another recommendation from Discord.
This schedule's getting really packed.
Yeah, man.
Really packed.
Yeah. No sleep.
Well, I'll have to talk to my manager about that. But yeah, I'm for it in theory. So or maybe just you could do all those things and I could just post it on social media and take credit.
Okay, I'm down. I'll have to play both parts on Scene Study Saturday, but that's fine. I'll figure it out.
That's within your wheelhouse, I would say.
That moment, it's just, there's nothing better in this movie than that moment, because it's a very difficult scene to pull off, to express the grief of losing a loved one in such a horrific way, to be that vulnerable. I mean, I did a pretty good job just a few minutes ago, but
nailed it.
But it's very, very difficult to conjure that up. You really have to do some deep digging, find, some sense memory, emotional recall of who you would in real life be missing, be tragically horrified, and then surface that. There's some deep stuff in there. So I mean, as we all know, actors are messed up in the head because they have to think up some pretty terrible things. The better the actor, the more messed up their head is. So Michael B. Jordan, I pray for you. I hope you are doing okay, because you're an incredible actor.
Yeah, agreed. Good call. And it looks like we're having some stream difficulties here, which is weird because like we are still live and I can see you and hear you, but it says we're offline. So that's interesting, but we'll just keep chugging along here.
Okay.
And hopefully we catch back the train in a little bit here. Okay. Here's my showstopper. It is, so first of all, I just want to start off by saying that this production is pretty darn good overall. Like I thought that the quality of the overall movie production was solid. It looked good, sounded good, and it, throughout it was consistent. I thought there was good camera work. There was good stylistic choices. There was lots of good sound. So, I mean, I think the production of this is really strong, but I'm going to be a little bit more specific for my showstopper and go with the sound mixing and editing. Because I thought that the way that the volume didn't have to adjust. I didn't touch my remote once. Not one time. And this is an action movie. And that is incredibly difficult to do. There are movies that win sound awards at the Academy Awards, like that I have a hard time keeping EQ'd out. And not this one. This one, I didn't have to touch the dial at all. And they did a really good job of, when they're in active combat, having it so that you can still hear the guns firing, but you can hear the dialogue crisp and clear, and it doesn't take anything away from the realism. I think so many directors want it to be just deafeningly loud for the realism effect, but I think you can get that same effect and still have clear dialogue, and I thought they did that really well. Also, the sound effects of the silenced guns, the explosions, everything that you get in an action movie. There was a plane crash scene in this movie that I thought was really well done. So I mean, the sound for me was great. I mean, I'm going to say it again because I'm so shocked by it. for me to be able to watch an action movie and not have to touch my remote and get the full stereo surround experience is pretty impressive. So I give them credit for that. I perhaps underestimated them on that early on in the movie, and then as it went on, I was like, wow, they're doing a really great job with this. So that's where my showstopper lies.
Fantastic point. Maybe that should be the only quality in the Academy Awards for sound editing, because man, I mean, I'm watching Soul the other night, and I'm just like turning it up, turning it down, turning it up, turning it down. I mean, this is the movie that won for Best Animated, but maybe we should be a little bit more harsh on the sound editing, because I just want
it's an important factor, man. It is like it matters, and like yes, a huge part of it is just like getting the right sounds and swelling the music at the right times and doing all that stuff. But so much of it is like, dude, if I'm trying to watch this and I go from a scene where I'm trying to listen closely to the dialogue, and the next scene my ears are exploding because there's like a firefight breaking out, like that is not an enjoyable experience, and that's not how the movie should go. I
want to set it and forget it, and I want to not lose my suspension of disbelief by turning the volume up and down. It really messes with me, man.
That's part of it. That is part of it for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my showstopper.
Excellent.
Kudos to the sound team. They did an awesome job.
Bravo.
I could have looked up their names and I didn't, but that's what happens when you choose to be sound people. It's a thankless job. So you only have yourselves to blame on that. All right, Kirk, what's your director's shoes, man?
Oh, my director's shoes. This movie is forgettable. It's forgettable. It's got some weird stuff that happens, like when so Michael B. Jordan goes to jail, of course, and then he beats up like 30 guards, and then they're like, it's all good, man.
Wild.
It is a pretty fantastic scene. It's a great scene, but as far as like intellectual progression of the plot, like it's like, nah, like he should have had to like fight his way out of the prison, or someone should have had to infiltrate him and get him out of there. Because then straight after that, after this very, very violent scene where he destroys all of these guards, they're like, hey man, we're going to give you a gun and every weapon that you need, and you're going to come out there with us, and you're going to go help us find these people. But then you're going back to jail as a felon. So just a heads up, that's what's coming. Like, no, that just wouldn't happen. That just wouldn't happen. That part grinds my gears, if you will. Various things that just happen throughout. Some of the writing just really fails. I mentioned that Michael B. Jordan really shines above the script. There's a moment in the scene in which the tone of his voice completely changes for about 45 seconds. He like turns around to face Greer, kind of his partner, and his voice is very focused, and then it's like a little boy for a little while, and then it like foams back to focus. Like it's like, what happened there? Like the director didn't catch that. Like he's locked in on this entire performance. Like things like that just really made no sense as to why they got missed. And ultimately, I don't remember this movie. I watched it less than 48 hours ago. I don't remember how it ended, and I was fully awake for the whole thing. That's kind of a bad sign, unfortunately. It's got this weird mid-credit scene that's trying to blow up the further universe of John Kelly. I just feel like if we were gonna go for this, Amazon Prime or whoever the real studio is that produced this, but if we were really gonna go for this and make this a series, let's make it good. Let's hit the ground running. And it just wasn't fully fleshed out throughout.
Yep. Yeah, I think Paramount was behind this, maybe.
How dare them?
This would have been before. Not that matters. It doesn't matter at all. So I don't even know why I care. But I vaguely remember seeing Paramount because I was like, that's interesting that this is on Prime. But you know how that goes.
Yes.
Paramount Plus wasn't a thing yet. Yada yada yada, etc. Yeah, good pick for director's shoes. For me, here's my bold statement. I have issues with this movie for sure. Here's what I'll boil it down to. I will posit that this movie
Posit. You will posit.
I don't know if that is
Buzzword.
contextually correct, so don't draw attention
Ladies
to it.
and gentlemen.
I was just trying to sneak it in there. Somebody's gonna actually me after this. But here's what I will say, and I will not posit it. I will just say
you will deposit it.
I will deposit this for you.
No. You are correct. Posit. Verb.
All right.
Assume as a fact. Assume as a fact, put forward as a basis of argument. You are 100% correct.
There we go. I take a few grammar risks every episode just to keep myself sharp, and just keep the listeners on their toes as well. See if anybody will call me out. So that was one of them. Anywho, what I will posit is that this movie would have been lots better had it not been called Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. And here is why. I think that the fact that this was a Tom Clancy adaptation it was holding this movie back and making it have a bit of an identity crisis. Because first of all, and I am not a reader of Tom Clancy books, but after some brief research, I can tell you that this movie is nothing like the book that it is based on. Nothing at all. For his wife doesn't even have the same name. She dies in a car accident, not from getting murdered. He meets somebody else named Pam and ends up getting tied up with something involving her. It has nothing to do with the Russians or any sort of government plot. It's like way, way different. The only real similarity is that John Kelly is the main character, and that by the end of the movie he's John Clark. So interesting choice there. But I think the fact that it was based on this Tom Clancy movie or on this Tom Clancy book kind of gave it this identity crisis where they had to like try to fit some things in with that. But like, and it was like, they knew by putting Tom Clancy in there that they would attract Tom Clancy fans, but I think that also hindered the movie because the character development on this John Kelly guy is terrible. It's horrible. And actually on everybody, the character dev is bad. The only really good bit of character development we get with John Kelly, Michael B. Jordan, is the family dynamic between him and his wife, Pam, which is good and leads to a pretty good payoff. But other than that, you have no idea why this guy is like an amazing military force. What's his background? What's he been through? Why is he on this mission? You know, what are his relationships within the intelligence agencies and the Navy? And like, you know, nothing. You're just dropped into the middle of it. And I'm like, is that for the Tom Clancy fans? I don't know, because let me tell you something. From quickly Googling Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, the fans of the book are not pleased with this one because, like I said, it is nothing like the book at all. So I just think that was a weird choice. It would have actually been better just to give it some random action movie title and say, hey, look, it's a Michael B. Jordan action movie where he's a Navy SEAL, and people would have been like, oh, cool. I think that would have been a better choice. I don't know. That's my take.
I think that's fantastic. That's a really great argument. That's a really great posit. Can I use it as a noun? Dang it.
I don't know. Maybe. Like I said, I know nothing about the word. I just threw it in there.
But how funny that it's nothing like the book.
Nothing.
I love that.
Nothing at all, actually. And it's funny because I try to find out as little as possible about like movies that I go in and watch, but a lot of times afterwards I'll go like, if it's based on something particularly, I'll go like look at some facts about the author so I can bring it into the show. And so then whenever I found a synopsis of the book, I was like, huh? Like this is nowhere close. Really, really weird choice. But that I think is the root cause of many of the issues that branch out from it. So I'll leave it at that. But with that, let's go into our final thoughts and scores. Kirk, the floor is yours. What are your final thoughts on Tom Clancy's Without Remorse?
Thank you for this category. I would like to act out the scene in which. Just kidding.
Here we go again.
I will play Jamie Bell and Michael B. Jordan as they're in a fight, strangling each other. This movie is decent. It's all right. You know, it's got a lot of plot holes. A lot of times we can categorize films and rate them when they are what they are, when they are a very certain kind of film, when they fall into a very niche category. This one is an action movie. That's about it. It's not like a full blown action movie because it tries to, again, ground itself and give a sort of realism. Probably why the Russians were brought into this film, which is a smart move. It makes sense. Lots of tension with them right now. Shout out Putin. And
shout out Vladimir Putin, baby.
This is not a pro Putin podcast. Let's also throw that in there. But I think that how forgettable this movie is what resonates with me the most. That the action part of it doesn't even really stick with me. It doesn't even. There's not even a remote part of it besides that one scene in the jail cell. Besides that, and him losing his wife, that I'm like, do you remember the other part of this movie? Like, I can't recall anything else, which is sad. So I'm sorry, Michael B. Jordan. It was a flop for me. I'm going to give this 3.7 kernels out of 10.
Youchie. Youch. We need the Price is Right sound effect. That's what we need. That's what we need for like any sub 4 score. That's what we need. Okay. Thanks for that, Kirk. I'm going to give my final thoughts and scores. This was an interesting one for me. When I'm going down the line, I'm like, production value, good. Sound, good. Dialogue, bad. Plot, bad. Like, it's kind of balancing it out. And so the score that I'm going to give this movie is pretty balanced. And I'm going to give it a 5.0 out of 10. I think it is one of these movies that's like, it actually kept my attention. I started it at like 10 p.m. last night or something like that. Maybe it was actually probably later. And I watched the whole thing. I didn't get tired. I didn't get distracted. I just kind of watched it because there was decent pacing in terms of like action mixed with dialogue. The dialogue itself was awful, as I mentioned. But it was enough to make me go, I want to see how this kind of turns out. And so for me, it's like, I wouldn't call this a good movie. I wouldn't call it an awful movie. And so for me, it's a 5.0 out of 10. I don't know if I've ever given out one of those guys, but there it is. A perfect fitty right down the middle for Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan.
Okay. Nice.
All right. That's our review. If you want to check out, if you haven't already checked it out, you now know everything that happens in that movie. But if you still need to check it out, or if you want to watch it again, you can find it on Amazon Prime. That's the only place I believe that you can go see this movie. So if you have a Prime subscription, go check it out. And now, Kirk, if my show notes are correct, I believe you have a game for us. Is that true?
That is true. That is correct. Are you ready, Cam, to play the game? Did I tell you the title of this game?
No, but I'm going to start the music.
I'll do it. Yeah.
All right. I want to know the title. Let's go.
The title of this game is called With Remorse. That's right. With it could be called With Great Remorse, but that doesn't fit into the title of the movie. So Cam, what I want to do is I want to tell you some facts about an actor. Sometimes I might give you the facts of the actor. Sometimes I might give you the facts of the movie.
Okay.
I'm going to flip it around. There's no rules to this game, which makes it complicated.
Sure.
And I want you to figure out what movie it was that the actor had remorse of filming and doing for whatever reason, or what actor had remorse. Did I say that opposite?
The movie? No, you said actor both times.
Dang it. Well, let's just do that then. How about that? I just changed the rules.
That works. This is really fleshed out. I'm loving it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You need to guess the actor of this film that I'm talking about. So, the first movie up. This is a movie about vampires. It's about love. It's a franchise. There are diamonds in it. And you need to tell me which actor or actress from this series highly regretted this entire franchise and wanted to get out of it as fast as they possibly could.
Arpats, right? No?
That is correct.
Yes. Robert Pattinson for Twilight. Yeah, he hated it.
He did. He really, really did. And rightfully so. I remember going to see the second one in theaters because it was the only movie to see, and I was on a road trip. One of the quotes that he says about how much he hated it, he says, "It's weird, kind of representing something you don't particularly like." And how this is such a good quote. He mindlessly hated the series. Oh man, it's pretty fantastic. It's pretty fantastic. So number 1, out the gate, very good job, very good job. This next one up, Cam, with Remorse. Tell me the actor or actress who was in the superhero movie. Now there's a lot to choose from there.
I was going to say, hold on now.
Good luck, because this could be from any time in film history. They hated this movie with a passion, more so for the experience than it was because of the actual bad writing of the film. This actor or actress was told that they weren't pretty enough when they cried. They were literally told to cry prettier, and thus they hated this movie. One more hint for you. It's an ensemble piece. It is an ensemble superhero movie.
Ensemble superhero movie.
Tell me the actor or the actress.
They weren't pretty enough when they cried. Ensemble superhero movie. Is the movie Fantastic Four?
That is the movie, yes.
Okay. Is it Jessica Alba?
That is correct!
Yes! I thought I remembered that.
Very nice, very nice. Which, a little sad, because John Watts was the director of that film.
Oh.
Who was the director of all of our favorite Spider-Man films. So he's grown, he's learned, but that really rubbed her the wrong way. Rightfully so, because she was trying to give a joyful, not a joyful performance, but a real performance.
Yeah, genuine.
Said, no, can you just be prettier when you cry, please?
Listen, I cry how I cry, all right?
I don't want you to be ugly. A little bit of Lorne Michaels in there. So this next one, number 3, I believe, of With Remorse. This actress also is from a superhero movie, but the movie we're talking about is not a superhero movie. This movie is a sequel to a very popular musical that came out in the late 70s. The sequel came out in the early 80s, should never have been made. There were only 2 of these movies ever made. John Travolta was in the first one, but what I'm talking about is the sequel. Who regrets making the sequel so much?
Ooh. Is it Grease 2?
It is Grease 2.
Oh, who would that be?
Remember, the actor was in a superhero movie as well.
Wait, I never saw Grease 2. Is it the same cast? No.
It is not the same cast.
Oh.
There might be 1 or 2 characters that came back just for giggles and a paycheck, but other than that, no.
And it was in the 80s.
1982.
Marissa Tomei. Guessing.
No, sir.
Okay.
But it was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer. Catwoman.
Yes, because she played the good Catwoman in the superhero movie in Batman. But in Grease 2, she says, at the time I was young and I didn't know any better by being in this movie. But I'll tell you what, that movie, while it is terrible, it has some really catchy tunes. If you listen to the soundtrack, it's pretty ridiculously fun. And I gotta say that what's good that came out of this is that the next film she did was she was in Scarface with Mr. Al Pacino. So it paid off in some degree, but ultimately there was some deep-rooted remorse for having been in that film.
See, all right, I have regrets because, like, whenever you grow up after movies come out, you don't get to see any of the old bad movies, I feel like. You only see the old good movies because that's what people are like, hey, you have to check out this. This is a classic. So I missed out on Grease, too. I'm going to have to swing back and watch it now.
Well, I gotta say, I have watched it, and it's hard. It's hard to watch.
It's a toughie.
Maybe we can live stream that on like a movie night.
Maybe.
I will sing all of the songs, and everyone can listen to me. Here's our final one. This one's big. This arguably is the largest Disney Channel original movie to ever grace the Disney franchise and Disney Channel. This actor has stated that he wishes he had never done the series. Arguably, it would have never made this actor famous.
Ooh.
There are 3 films, one of which went straight to the theaters. 2 of which.
Well, then it's Zac Efron.
It is Zac Efron!
High School Musical.
Very nice. That is right. How can you, as Zac Efron, knowing that High School Musical created you, hate High School Musical?
I know, right?
How can you do that? It's a little
Maybe
disheartening.
He didn't want to be created. You ever think about that? No, I don't know.
He was
I don't know
created.
what I'm trying to get at there.
He was created in a Disney lab, and he's broken free from it, and he's trying to get away.
What's funny about that is the thing that threw me off the set was you calling it a Disney Channel original movie, because that movie was so big that it doesn't even register as that to me, even though I DVR'd that movie and watched it 30,000 times with the little Disney Channel commercial break thing. So I should know that, but that totally threw me. But yeah, High School Musical, man, a classic.
That's it. He has remorse. He says he's tried to do lots of things since, but he'll always be remembered as that expletive kid from High School High School Musical.
Oh, poor Zac Efron. Yeah, that's too bad.
Which is true. But the good news is he's got the acting chops to back it up. I've seen him in some wonderful things since.
It's so true. It's true. He's legit now. That's the thing. He is the real deal now, so he doesn't have to worry about that. There will come a time where he's not remembered for that. Probably.
That's right.
All right. Well, that was a fun game with Remorse. I went 3 for 4 on that, which is much better than I normally do on these games. So I will take it. I will definitely take it. Alrighty, that is our show for today. Thank you guys so much for listening. We are glad to be back, man. It feels good to be back in the studio recording after a week off. We've got a lot of exciting things in the hopper. First of all, if you've been listening, every week, you've noticed that we've got No Spilled Popcorn going on right now. That is by design. We don't have a particular show that we're following. We're probably going to rev it back up again for Loki, which is at the beginning of June. And until then, I don't know what we're going to do, but we will figure something out. One thing that is coming back, Kirk doesn't even know this. This is big. The 52-week movie challenge is coming back. I started it last year during the pandemic as a blog, and then had a second kid. My life got too busy to blog, so I'm gonna run it back as a vlog and do it as a video series. So I'm still trying to figure out, because, and this is just, you can hear my thought process out loud right now, but I'm still trying to figure out how I can make it as engaging as possible, because I want to build community around it, and I want everybody to be able to watch the movies with me and then hear the review, because that's what makes it fun. So I got to work out the kinks there before it comes back, but that'll be happening sooner rather than later, the 52-week movie challenge.
Say it with me, Cam. Monologue Monday.
Monologue Monday?
Monday. That's how you do it.
It's growing on me because it's alliterative and because you keep saying it over and over again. So it's eventually it's just going to sink into my brain and it'll happen. So
yes,
we'll see. But other than that, we are back at you. We'll have regular episodes from here on out. And I don't know what we're reviewing next week. The Leader in the Clubhouse, I would say, is The Mitchells versus the Machines, which is on Netflix. So I'd recommend you check that one out, but we'll let you know as soon as we know what we are reviewing. As always, we're going to give a special thanks to our executive producer, Mr. Ryan Spriggs, as well as the band who created our original music. That band is called Rhetoric. Those guys are awesome. Check them out on Amazon Music, Apple Music, wherever else. We will see you guys next week.
Talk to you then.